promoting dialogue.
It's made there in Dakar, 1 p.m. in Lagos. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa, the Democracy Radio broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide on wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. Senegal signs partnership deal with China to join International Lunar Research Station project. Ghana's Electoral Commission rejects main opposition party's request for a forensic audit of the voters' register.
That the UNDP is ready and willing to provide the support only if the Electoral Commission will write to request for this support.
Once it is about correction of the register, it should also make reference to CI 91.
48 people confirmed dead and several injured in devastating tanker explosion in north-central Nigeria. And millions of children are out of school in West and Central Africa due to violence and armed conflict. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Augustine Coley with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast and welcome to our listeners in the Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. This edition begins right here in Senegal because after launching its first satellite into space, the country has signed a new agreement with China to join the International Lunar Research Station project. Scheduled for 2035, this initiative marks a significant advancement in Senegal's space exploration efforts. Nadia Tete reports the details.
The agreement was signed on the sidelines of the China-Africa Forum, attended by Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. The Senegalese Space Studies Agency's director, who is also the founder of the Senegalese Association for the Promotion of Astronomy, played a crucial role in this partnership. China has pledged to build a robotic station by 2035, with 5 planned launches to establish essential infrastructure such as energy and communication systems. By 2045, a lunar station capable of hosting humans for extended missions will be operational. According to Maram Kairé, who coordinated the launch of Senegal's first nanosatellite, this agreement represents a historic opportunity for Senegal. The country is thus positioning itself within the Global Lunar Exploration Initiative alongside distinguished international partners. The collaboration with China will also enhance Senegal's human and technical capacities and ensure a sustainable transfer of technology.
Nadia Tete with details of Demba Ama-An's report. Meanwhile, a capitalization workshop at Terra Africa project on solution-based journalism on the environment concluded during the weekend here in Dakar, the Senegalese capital. The CFR joint project trained at least 40 journalists in 5 West African countries on how environmental journalism, the promotion of gender equality, and other innovative approaches can be used as strategic levers to respond to the complex challenges of climate change. The roundtable was also designed to promote the project's results and provide a framework for broadcast reflection on the many dimensions of climate change in Africa. Abdullahi Hassan has the details.
Drawing on its expertise in media support and its ongoing commitment to freedom of information, CFI developed the Terra Africa project to assist the media in 5 countries, namely Cape Verde, Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, and Senegal. The training and mentoring program is on solution-based journalism, including skills building in gender and environmental issues. Rim Matluti, the project's journalist trainer, said at least 40 media professionals were trained in these 5 countries to provide local solutions to climate issues. Women and youth who are most affected by the impact of climate change are already changing the narrative following the broadcast of environment programs during the 8-month project.
We discover that they are able to be resilient and create solutions with their hands, with their hearts, and they change the reality. For example, in Côte d'Ivoire, yes, eco-construction decided by a community of women for their children to create a school. And Biogaz in Guinea-Conakry for women to cook in their house.
Rasin Khan, former Director General of the International Union for Conservation of Nature in Dakar and the guest speaker, echoes the role of the media in fighting climate change.
We need to continue producing data and knowledge, and that knowledge should be used by communities themselves, but also by the press. They have to play a crucial role in conveying the messages based on knowledge, which can empower the communities and the populations.
The climate crisis, which is affecting the entire planet, is having a particular impact on the African continent, which is exacerbated by phenomena such as floods, extreme drought, and ecosystem depletion.
Abdullahi Hassan with that report. Still on the outcome of the Forum on China and Africa Cooperation Phuket Summit, Burkina Faso is set to deepen its partnership with China. Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim Kelem di Tambela revealed that both nations are exploring the possibility of creating a joint shipping company to enhance trade relations. The Burkinabe Prime Minister explained that discussions with Chinese authorities had been positive, with China ensuring strong support for Burkina Faso's development projects, particularly in agriculture, livestock and infrastructure. He also mentioned that other African countries, including Mali, Nigeria and Senegal, are involved in similar partnerships with China.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Now, today, September 9, marks the observance of the International Day to Protect Education from Attack, an emotional reminder of the urgent need to safeguard schools and educational environments worldwide. Currently, thousands of children in West and Central Africa are unable to attend school due to ongoing violence and insecurity. As of June this year, more than 14,000 schools have been closed, according to the Norwegian Refugee Council (NRC). This alarming situation leaves men and children vulnerable to severe risks, including recruitment by armed groups, child labor, physical violence, and sexual exploitation. Sankule Janko has the details of this report.
Education is facing significant challenges in West and Central Africa due to the deliberate targeting of schools and the denial of education as a result of conflict, according to Hassan Hamadou, NRC Regional Director for West and Central Africa. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, violence and intercommunal tensions have led to the closure of 1,457 schools since the beginning of 2024, affecting over 500,000 students and 12,700 teachers. Armed groups are using school buildings for military purposes for the disrupting education. In Cameroon, the combined impact of three simultaneous humanitarian crises has left 1.4 million school-aged children in urgent need of education assistance in 2023. Across 24 countries in West and Central Africa, more than 14,000 schools have closed due to armed violence and increased from 13,200 schools in 2023. According to UNICEF, in Burkina Faso alone, 1 in 4 schools, or 149, were closed in 2023. On this International Day to Protect Education from Attack, the Norwegian Refugee Council is urging the international community, governments, and all parties to conflict to take immediate and sustained action to protect education. This includes ending attacks and occupations of schools, ensuring the safety of students and teachers, and provide adequate funding for education programs in conflict-affected areas.
That's Sankle Janko with details of that NRC report. In a related development, the Kaduna State government in northwest region of Nigeria has signed a landmark agreement with UNICEF to reintegrate 200,000 out-of-school children into the education system. Deputy Governor Hadisa Sabuwa Balawarbi signed the agreement, emphasizing the project's goal to address the high number of out-of-school children, particularly girls, children with disabilities, and adolescents. Usma Umar has the details.
Nigeria currently has an estimated 10.2 million out-of-school children, with the northern region being the most affected. In Kaduna State, the challenge is particularly pressing, with many children excluded from educational opportunities. According to Deputy Governor Hadiza Sabuwa Balarabe, UNICEF's Reaching Out of School Children project aligns with Kaduna State's education sector strategy and contributes to achieving Sustainable Development Goal 4, which promotes inclusive and equitable quality education for all.
We are committed to ensuring that every child, particularly out-of-school children and children with disabilities, have access to quality education.
UNICEF country representative Christian Munduate highlighted the project's objectives, including equitable access and participation, noting that 49,000 children have already been enrolled in the Nigeria Learning Passport, expanding access to quality education across Kaduna State. Munduate praised the Kaduna State government's commitment to reducing literacy and numeracy poverty rates through initiatives like the Kaduna Learning and Numeracy Acceleration, Kalina.
The government of Kaduna to increase the accessibility of education for children. But the major threat now is insecurity. Insecurity perpetuated by who don't love their children.
The 4-year intervention will see UNICEF supporting the state with $2.5 million through the Islamic Development Bank. With only 55% of children in Nigeria completing primary school and most half living below the poverty line, this partnership is a crucial step towards addressing the country's education challenges. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
Well, to some sad news coming from Nigeria, a deadly tanker explosion along the Lapai-Agai Road in Niger State, North Central region, has claimed the lives of at least 48 people, with scores injured and over 50 cattle in the early hours of Sunday. The tragic incident occurred when a petrol tanker collided with a truck carrying passengers and livestock, resulting in a massive inferno that engulfed multiple vehicles. Francis Boniface has the details.
The incident, which happened early Sunday morning, involved a petrol tanker that exploded after colliding with a truck on the Lapai-Agai Road, about 2 kilometers from Dendo community in Niger State. The truck traveling from Kano to Lagos was badly hit, causing a massive explosion. 2 other vehicles, a crane truck and a pickup van, were also caught in the fire. Initial reports say over 48 people died and more than 50 cattle were burned. A mass burial for the victims took place the same day. Rescue efforts led by the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, NSEMA, and the local government emergency committees began immediately. Emergency responders are still searching for bodies, with some trapped in the burnt vehicles. NSEMA Director General Abdullahi Baba Ara expressed condolences to the families and assured that the situation is being managed. Niger State Governor Umaru Bago also expressed sadness and urged road users to follow traffic rules to avoid such tragedies in the future. He prayed for the souls of the victims and wished the injured a quick recovery as rescue operations continue.
Francis Boniface reporting there. Over to Liberia, where more than 100 inmates, both sentenced and awaiting trial, have escaped from Kakata Central Prison in Maingibi County. According to local media reports, the jailbreak took place early Sunday evening when the prisoners overpowered the guards on duty, leaving several injured. An eyewitness who lives near the prison described the scene as chaotic. According to him, they saw a large group of men running through the Chato High community. He added that local residents tried to stop the fleeing prisoners but were quickly overwhelmed. Despite numerous attempts by local media to get a response, prison authorities have remained silent on the matter. No official statement has been issued regarding the escape or the condition of the injured guards. You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Senegal signs partnership deal with China to join International Lunar Research Station project. 48 people confirmed dead and several injured in devastating tanker explosion in north-central Nigeria. Millions of children are out of school in West and Central Africa due to violence and armed conflicts. Still ahead, Ghana's Electoral Commission rejects main opposition party's request for forensic audit of the voters' register. We do have the press review, guest interview, and sports news. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Thanks for being with us. As a reminder, we're streaming live on YouTube at WADR and on Facebook, WADR English Service. Ghana's Electoral Commission has rejected a proposal by the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, for a forensic audit of the voter register by an independent body ahead of the December 7 polls. Speaking to the media after a closed-door engagement with the Electoral Commission, the NDC maintained that the voters' register is unfit for the upcoming crucial December 7 general elections. From Accra, Christopher Aticho reports.
According to a statement issued on Sunday, the Guinea-Bissau Judicial Police seized 2.6 tons of cocaine from a plane arriving from Venezuela. The entire crew was detained, consisting of 2 Mexicans, a Colombian, a Brazilian, and an Ecuadorian. They are set to appear before the Criminal Division of the Regional Court of Bissau on Monday for a preliminary hearing. The investigation will continue with Bissau-Guinean authorities aiming to fully dismantle the network involved in the trafficking operation. The seizure was part of Operation Landing carried out by the Judicial Police of Guinea-Bissau on Saturday afternoon at Osvaldo Vieira International Airport in close collaboration with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. The operation also involved the National Guard, police and intelligence and security services in Bissau. Authorities praised the successful drug seizure as a milestone in their ongoing fight against international drug trafficking, while also commending international cooperation, which they described as essential in effectively combating organized crime.
That was Oge Oberika reporting about Guinea-Bissau Judicial Police summoning the seizure of nearly 3 tons of cocaine at Bissau Airport over the weekend. Let's now bring you back to Ghana, where the Electoral Commission has rejected a proposal by the main opposition party, the NDC, for a forensic audit of the voter register by an independent body ahead of the December polls. Christopher Aticho has the details.
After turning down a previous request from the main opposition party for a public broadcast of their meeting with the Electoral Commission after issues with the voter register, the Commission has now also rejected the NDC's proposal for a forensic audit of the register. Discrepancies identified include illegal voter transfer, missing names, and blacklisting of eligible voters. The NDC argues that such an audit is necessary for free, fair and transparent elections. Director of Elections and IT with the NDC, Dr. Manebuama, believes that the EC cannot resolve these issues on its own. Dr. Manebuama also highlighted the readiness of the UNDP to provide forensic audits to the register.
For an independent body to audit this, it has happened before. And let me speak on authority and in locus classicus that the UNDP is ready and willing to provide the support only if the Electoral Commission will write to request for this support.
But the governing party, the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, believes though the concerns raised by the NDC may be genuine, the EC must be allowed to clean its own register in accordance with the law. Here's Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the ruling NPP.
Once it is about correction of the register, it should also make reference to CI 91, that in responsibility of handling the preparation of register and what have you.
While the 2024 voter register includes data from the 2020 register, as well as 2023 and 2024 limited and mopped up registrations, the NDC has expressed concerns that persons with malicious intent to disrupt the election could have used the missing biometric verification devices, BVDs. The party says it will not back down on its request for a forensic audit to clean the voter register ahead of the December 7 polls.
That was Christopher Aticho with that report.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Let's head back to Abuja and John Usman Umar for the press review.
We begin with Daily Trust newspaper. 48 people, 50 cows killed in Niger road accident. Rider to the story says residents blame speed, bad road. We are owed 30 months allowances. Border security personnel cry out. OPay money point users kick as federal government imposes electronic levy. Banks colluding with states to bypass fiscal law. This is coming from FRC. That is Federal Road Safety Commission. Finally, from the front page of the Daily Trust, kidnapped Borno judge regains freedom after 2 months. We move quickly to Leadership newspaper. Poverty, ignorance boosting organ trafficking in Nigeria. You have an infographic there on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. 651 kidneys were illegally transplanted from Nigeria between 2015 and 2020. Another detail from the infographic says young girls sell their eggs for as little as 50,000 naira. And finally, from the infographic, kidney payments range from a few $100s in developing countries to 20,000 to 30,000 in developed nations. And that's the much you can take from the front page of the Leadership newspaper. We now move to our final paper for the day, Nigerian Tribune, which is leading with this story. Increasing value-added tax to 10% will consume Nigerians. Atiku, that is the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, who is now the main opposition leader, is saying there, responding to federal government's plan to increase VAT from 5% to 10%. He says taxes destroying businesses, aggravating poverty. And this is the much we have for you on today's edition of the Press Review, and it's back to you in the studios.
Thank you, Usman, for the Press Review.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
This segment of Newslink takes us back to Ghana, where the Electoral Commission has rejected a proposal by the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, for a forensic audit of the voters' register by an independent body ahead of the December polls. Dr. Kwame Asa Asante is a Ghanaian political analyst. He speaks about this situation.
The Electoral Commission has admitted to the concern that have been expressed by the NDC that, look, there are anomalies, irregularities within the register that need to be fixed. So now that that admission has been done by the election management body, it is incumbent upon them to fix the problem so that everything becomes okay. So as at now, I think there are difficulties or challenges with the register which needs serious attention. Once it is addressed and all parties are satisfied that the register as they have now is a true reflection of what it ought to be, then obviously there shouldn't be any problem whatsoever.
What do you think this happened, and how can this affect the December polls if not addressed?
Oh, obviously you and I know that if it's not addressed, then the register becomes something which is not fit for purpose, for which reason it cannot be used to administer the election. But I'm not sure that will be the case, because at each point in time, the political parties, as part of what the stakeholders of the electoral processes, will demand anything that is within the remit of the law to be able to ascertain the veracity of the register or it's otherwise. So I'm not sure we can get there because the political parties are vigilant and they will do the needful by making sure that all the wrong names, all the wrong transfers that have been done are corrected before December 7 when Ghanaians go to the polls to elect their leaders.
Now that the Electoral Commission has admitted to discrepancies within the voter register, does this affect the credibility of the Electoral Commission ahead of this major election?
Oh, as for the credibility of the EC has been credible over the years, and it has conducted elections successfully, all right? So there's no point that I can say that the EC is not credible. Far from it. The EC is credible, but there are challenges with the process which the NDC have found out, which is very good. It's part of the transparency processes to make sure that whatever the process is supposed to be, it is nothing but the true reflection of what the situation is. And that is exactly what the NDC is doing, which I commend them, all right? So with that in mind, it tells you that at the end of the day, any doubts that people have relative to the register, if the problem of the register as we speak of today is fixed, obviously there will not be any problem. And that will really enhance the process and make the process more acceptable to the people and all that. I am not sure that the EC, which done successful elections, will want to ruin the whole process for the sake of whatever reason. It will not happen because the people of Ghana will not allow, the political parties will not allow. The EC itself will want to maintain its integrity, so they will do the needful.
Dr. Kwame Asante is a Ghanaian political analyst. And here is Sankle Janko with sports.
Hello there, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us. Ademola Lookman and Victor Osimhen were the stars as Nigeria eased past Benin Republic with a 3-0 victory in their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON qualifiers on Saturday at the Godswills Akpabio International Stadium. Nigeria dominated from start with Lookman opening the scoring in the first half before Osimhen's brilliant goal extended the lead. In another qualifier, Vincent Abubakar's solitary goal ensured Cameroon's 1-0 victory over Namibia. Meanwhile, in Nouakchott, Mauritania earned a last-minute 1-0 victory over Botswana. Following the completion of Match Day 1, the road to Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 continue from Sunday, September 8, as 48 nation teams across the continent embark on their qualifying campaign. Match Day 2 of the qualifiers continues as teams are divided into 12 groups to battle it out in a series of exciting encounters, with 24 matches scheduled. The race will be tough as the top 2 qualifiers in the 11 groups that do not involve tournament host Morocco are set to gain qualification to the competition. The qualifiers will determine 24 teams that will contest the 35th edition of Africa's biggest sporting spectacle, set to take place in the North African nation between 21 December and 18 January. Well, that's it for sports. It's back to you.
We've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. And many thanks to Krista Mukidi and Maudo Juf for the technical support. To interact with us via our social media platforms, X formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook at WADR English Service. I am Augustine Cully. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening.